The time is around 1200 BC. The Israelites had been living in constant oppression under the Midianites. Every year, like a plague, the Midianites would invade, destroying crops, stealing livestock, and terrorizing the people. The Israelites were afraid, hiding in caves with nothing left but their faith. But God had not forgotten them. In the town of Ophrah, a man named Gideon was doing his best to secretly thresh wheat, trying to make sure his family would have enough food. An angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon and said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon, feeling weak and unsure, questioned the angel, "If the Lord is with us, why has all this happened? Where are all his wonders our ancestors told us about?" But the angel told him, "Go in the strength you have. Am I not sending you? You will save Israel from the Midianites." Gideon, still doubting, asked, "How can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family." The angel reassured him, "I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites, leaving none alive." Despite this reassurance, Gideon asked for a sign. He prepared an offering of meat and unleavened bread. The angel touched the offering with his staff, and fire consumed it. Gideon, awestruck, realized he had seen an angel of the Lord and built an altar there, naming it "The Lord is Peace." Yet, Gideon's doubts persisted. He sought another sign from God to confirm his promise. He said, "I will place a wool fleece on the threshing floor. If there is dew only on the fleece and all the ground is dry, then I will know that you will save Israel by my hand." The next morning, Gideon found the fleece soaked with dew, but the ground was dry. Still unsure, Gideon asked for the opposite, for the fleece to remain dry while the ground was wet with dew. God, in his patience, granted Gideon this second sign. Now confident in God's calling, Gideon gathered an army of 32,000 men to fight against the Midianites, who were vast in number. But God said, "You have too many men. If you win with this army, Israel will boast that they did it themselves, not by my hand." God instructed Gideon to tell anyone who was afraid to go home, and 22,000 men left, leaving only 10,000. God said again, "There are still too many. Take them down to the water, and I will test them for you." At the water, those who lapped with their tongues like a dog were separated from those who knelt to drink. Only 300 men lapped the water, and God said, "With these 300 men, I will save you and give the Midianites into your hands. Let all the others go home." With just 300 men, Gideon prepared to face the overwhelming Midianite army. That night, Gideon and his servant Purah sneaked down to the enemy camp. They overheard a Midianite soldier recounting a dream in which a loaf of barley bread tumbled into the camp and struck a tent, overturning it. His companion interpreted the dream. "This can be nothing other than the sword of Gideon, son of Joash. God has given the Midianites and the whole camp into his hands." Encouraged, Gideon returned to his men. He divided them into 3 groups and gave each man a trumpet, an empty jar, and a torch hidden inside the jar. At the edge of the enemy camp, in the dead of night, they surrounded the Midianites. At Gideon's signal, the men blew their trumpets, smashed the jars, and held their torches high, shouting, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." The Midianites, thrown into panic and confusion, turned on each other in the chaos. They fled in terror, and Gideon's 300 men pursued them, securing a great victory. Through Gideon's faith in God's power, Israel was delivered from the Midianites. The Israelites learned that it was not by their strength, but by God's hand, that they had overcome. The story of Gideon reminds us that even in our weakness, God is strong and able to accomplish the impossible.